Since I had a resounding amount of feedback of people wanting to make more of these Titan videos, I'm much obliged to give that to you. Today I'm going to be showing you the best heroes to bring against Red Titans. So what I have compiled is a list of all the different heroes that you might need, and this goes for all levels, whether or not you're facing like 5-star or all the way up into 14-star Titans. These heroes are really important to obtain and have, and at the end of the video I'm also going to be giving you my opinion on the very best team to bring against Red Titans, as well as I got Zero's opinion on what he thinks the best team should also be. So starting off, it's very important that you understand how to actually build your teams, because if you understand how to build your teams, you can take essentially the same principles of this video and apply it to any Titan that you have. So I'm going to be covering over the elemental defensive down heroes, the regular defensive down heroes, the attack increase, attack decrease, defensive up, the specialty type heroes that also potentially help out with critical chance. And then you're going to also want to have your high tile damage heroes, and then you're going to pair that off with the high attack increase heroes. So I know it sounds a little bit confusing, but every single hero kind of fits in these, and when I'm doing the hero breakdowns, I try and explain this to you guys so you can understand where they come from. I bet you've seen a ton of Raid Shadow Legends sponsored videos on my channel. Something you have to give them major credit for is their attention to detail and just how funny their ads can be. I didn't realize they had a full in-house motion capture studio. This is how we're able to see such fluid motions from their champions throughout their fighting stances and their movements. It's so cool. What I like about Raid Shadow Legends is their level of commitment to the free-to-play and cheap-to-play community. It's such an awesome idea to have the ability to have 3-star champions be able to be leveled all the way up to 6-star champions. Some of the best champions in the game are the easiest to obtain. So this is my clan boss team. It's working really well for me. It's made up of 3 3-star champions and 2 4-star champions. I do a lot of damage with this team even though I have 5-star legendary champions on my roster. When you download the game, make sure you pick Kale. Raid has the biggest update in development right now with the Doom Tower. It's made up of 120 floors. You're going to be battling against the Frost Spider. You also got to hit the Magma Dragon and give some punishment to the Tomb Crab. This is going to be an exciting new feature. So come check out Raid Shadow Legends. Go to the video description, click on the special links. If you're a new player, you'll receive 1 clan boss key, 1 energy refill, 1 day XP boost, 5 mystery shards, 50 gems, 50,000 silver, and 1 free champion, Executioner. All your treasure, it's waiting for you right over here. Thanks Raid Shadow Legends. Let me get back into the video for you guys. But this will be very targeted and specific only to Red Titans. So kicking this off, we're gonna start off with number 1, the best hero for elemental defensive down. Now, when I build these teams, I build it from left to right. The reason why they are built from left to right is because it applies and helps you out with the maximum amount of damage that you can do on a Titan. So typically when we look at the stacks, so when I talk about a stack, that means that when you apply an ability and then you throw another ability on it, you want to have those abilities kind of work together towards a common goal. So the first part of the stack against a Red Titan is what we call an elemental defensive down. This also applies to any other Titan. They have said that giving the elemental defensive down gives you more of an advantage in terms of damage that you can deal. So with the Red Titans, you're gonna obviously want to bring blue heroes, and there currently is only 3 heroes that give elemental defensive down. Number 1 on that list is going to be King Arthur. King Arthur is the best elemental defensive down. He's also giving the target getting minus 39% attack for 4 turns, which is really amazing. But the biggest and most important thing that he does is he gives a minus 54% against ice for 4 turns. And then he also helps out with the caster getting 74% defense against special skills for 4 turns. So the big reason why he's so impressive and so important on Titans is going to give the elemental defensive down. The next hero on the list is going to be Frida. Frida also does the same thing. The target nearby enemies get minus 54% defense against ice for 4 turns. That's elemental defensive down. Also helps out with dispelling and also gives a little bit of elemental link. Doesn't really help out against the Titans there. The next one on this list, this is actually maybe one that you didn't really consider or know about, but this is Nordri. Nordri, the 3-star champion, or the 3-star hero, actually helps out and also gives elemental defensive down. Me personally, I've been using Nordri because I don't have King Arthur or Frida, so even on the 14-star Titans, I'm still using Nordri. Next, we get into the actual regular defensive down. This is really important, and when we compiled this list, we found out that blue has a ton of heroes that are in regular defensive down. Number 1 on that list is definitely going to be Athena. Athena is an absolute monster. When we look at this, the target and nearby enemies get minus 41% defense and further 4% decrease every time they're hit for 4 turns. I think this gets up to around 65%, something like that, which is huge. It's or 62. It's around that range. It's really, really high up there. So the important thing is elemental defensive down and regular defensive down pair together. That's why Athena is absolutely important that you pair her with one of those other heroes. Next on the list, we've got a new hero, which is Magni Costume. Magni Costume running at fast speed is going to give the target nearby enemies minus 34% for 4 turns. There are other heroes that extend it out to like 6 turns, but I do love that Magni is running at fast speed. So if you don't have Athena, Magni Costume is absolutely awesome in that position. Next one on this list is actually a little bit kind of weird that you would think that he fits in on this list, but Finley also sets it up so he deals damage and then all targets get minus 34% defense for 3 turns. Again, with him running at fast speed, this helps it out. It makes it so it's a really high impacting hero. I could definitely see him being used on your Titans. Next on the list is one of my personal favorites that is definitely underrated. You don't really consider it too much, but it's Isarnia. Now, I know that there is a Isarnia costume, but if you're thinking in terms of Titans, it is important that you use the regular Isarnia version because she gives minus 44% defense for 6 turns, whereas Isarnia costume gets minus 34% for 6 turns. So you're getting 10% more on the regular Isarnia regular Isarnia. You want to use her if you don't have the others. Next on the list, in my opinion, is going to be Grim. This is definitely an all-star 4-star that we have out. I know a lot of people use Grim. He's pretty awesome. He's really easy to obtain, definitely helps you out. So he's going to give minus 34% defense for 6 turns running at average speed. Definitely a hero that you could be using. Next up on the list, we actually have Frank. So Frank is a new hero that just came out. He's also helping out giving the defensive down, which is pretty cool about him. I do like that about him. Moving on, we've got Costume Kiril. Costume Kiril gives all enemies minus attack and defensive down for 3 turns. So what's important to know, just so you know, if you're using a hero that doesn't deal actual damage, you want to have those heroes go first. So in this case, if you only have Kiril and you don't have the other defensive down heroes, I'd recommend using Kiril first before an elemental defensive down, because obviously he doesn't deal damage. You're going to deal more damage when you have an attack done over it. So that's just something to kind of consider. Next up, we have kind of the subpar heroes that you could be using. And for that, we have Costume Gunnar. Costume Gunnar helps out quite a bit, gives that defensive down, and then we're rolling into another 3-star, which is Valen, giving the defensive down as well. And then if you really are in a bind, you could potentially use Ulmer as well. So that will help out quite a bit. Okay, so now we are going to discuss the attack increase, attack decrease, the defensive up, or like the critical chance type heroes. These are kind of wild card heroes that you throw in, but most importantly, usually you're gonna have a hero that gives you high attack increase. That's kind of the best situation for this. Sometimes you may have a hero that gives critical chance, something like that. So these are the best heroes that also pair really well in the spot of the next spot, which is what I consider the high tile damage spot. So those can kind of mix together, and you can pick between those 2 different heroes that fit kind of what it is that you're looking for. So number 1 on this list is going to be Jott. Jott is a brand new hero that just came out with Valhalla. He's dealing the 200% damage to all enemies. That's not really what you're concerned about, but where he fits in is all ice shards on the board become enhanced and have plus 64% attack. So you are essentially setting it up so you get an additional 64% attack on any tiles that are on the board when he is activated. Obviously, the more tiles you have on the board, the more attack situation you're going to have to where they're going to be going in. So I really love Jott on the Titans. He's going to make number 1 on this list for this section. Next on this is going to be Kiril, which is another one of the heroes that help out and give attack increase. And what I like about Kiril is he also pairs to give you attack, giving all your allies plus 30% defense. So you're getting 30% attack and defense for 3 turns, and you're also helping out recover. I know I use Kiril quite a bit, and what you want to also consider is if you are using Kiril because he doesn't inflict damage, you want to make it so he goes first, so he's first on your stack, but an amazing hero to give you an attack increase. After that, we have Alice, which is now running at fast speed and helping out by giving minus 44% attack for 3 turns. So that fits into that damage slot there, not to mention at 741 on her attack power, that helps out quite a bit. One of my personal favorites that I used for quite some time is going to be Richard. Now, when you're debating between whether or not using Richard or Richard Costume, you absolutely want to go with regular Richard because regular Richard gives 34% attack for 6 turns negative, and the costume version gives a minus 34 attack for 4 turns. So regular Richard is definitely better on the Titans if you're considering that. Now, another one that is used for me personally, I use Vela. The reason why I'm using Vela in the attack decrease is because I have a ton of emblems on her, so she almost fits into where she's giving me the high tile damage, not to mention she's also giving the minus 24% attack for 3 turns. So she was definitely a little bit better before the nerf, but still fits in there. The minus 24% attack for 3 turns is pretty decent. There may be some better situations, but I really like her because she fits in as high tile damage for me. Next on this list is going to be Magni, which Magni is pretty cool because Magni floats around and he has different situations to where he could come in and help out with your defensive up. And he also has high tile damage. So myself personally, I'm using both Vela as well as Magni in my high tile damage and my attack increase section because I'm getting that additional defense. So he's giving plus 63% defense and a ton of tile damage. Another one on this list that you could potentially use in this spot is going to be Aegir. Aegir is one of those little kind of unknown ones, which is kind of interesting. I like him because he gives the 30% defense for 3 turns. He also sets it up so you heal all the normal damage dealt. So when you're healing, it's any damage that is dealt by the tiles. Everybody's going to recover on that, especially with stuff being situated to where you're mostly running a blue team. You could definitely set it up so you're gaining a whole bunch of life. And then obviously he has the ability to share damage for 3 turns. So he's keeping all your guys alive. He's also giving defensive up, and he's also doing the shared damage and everybody's recovering. So he's really does fit into that spot as well too. Now, of the subpar heroes to choose in this spot, there's the brand new one, Glenda. So she does help out a little bit for this. I do love that she gives the 40% damage for 4 turns on special skills. So this makes it so anytime you're hitting with Athena or Frida with the actual special skill part, you're going to be getting an additional 40% damage for 4 turns. Now, I could see this fitting in and helping out. She is also helping out with the with giving an ice minion that's going to give you a little bit of attack power, so maybe you could use her in that. And then another character that you could throw in is going to be Alasie, which Alasie is going to help out with the minus 24% mana generation, but where she fits in on the Titan is going to be giving all ice allies 5% attack and 5% defense for 6 turns. So gives you a little bit of attack and defense, but probably not the best suited for setting it up for a Titan hit. Next into this section, this is now kind of the 4th section of the Titan where you're going to put heroes. This is what I consider the high tile damage slot. So these are all the heroes that have really high tile damage, and the brand new hero that just came out, Cobalt, I believe he has the highest tile damage of all blue heroes. He's coming in at 801 on his attack, so could definitely be fit into that high tile damage slot. Not to mention, he does deal quite a bit of damage if you're setting up the charge, so that is going to help out a bit, but the only reason why he might fit in is going to be the high tile damage. Next on this list is going to be Master Lepus. Again, Master Lepus has 795 on the attack. Does set it up so it gets minus 20% defense for 3 turns. But just having that 795 is monstrous to go against and smash out, get all the extra damage that you're going to get out of your tiles. So that helps out a ton there. And then next in this list is going to be Fenrir. Fenrir has 780 on his attack. He's also putting a situation to where he's going to be gaining some life when he deals damage. Not too really worried about the other factors that come into play, but he has a 780 attack, so maybe you're going to put him in on your high tile damage. And then last on this list for high tile damage is going to be Magni, which I already mentioned. Kind of fits into that high tile damage spot, also helping out where you have the high defense that you're getting for the target and nearby allies at 63%. So 793 on his attack, definitely fitting in there at fast speed. Now, it is worth mentioning that if you have a different hero that has higher tile damage than what is displayed, obviously you'd want to potentially use them instead. So you want to focus on having a really high attack damage. That's going to help you out a bunch. Now, the last part on this list is going to be the high attack increase. So these abilities stack with any other heroes that give attack increase. So why I also put these heroes at the very end, there's for 2 reasons, okay? So if some people are going to say, hey, if I'm going to use Miki, it doesn't matter what position he's in, he can be in the first spot or he can be in the last spot, it doesn't matter. But the thing you want to consider is when you're building your stack, you want to have the stack go from left to right, and you want to have it be built in a way that is also built for survivability. Having Miki at the very last spot makes it so you have a higher percent total to where you're not going to be hit by attacks that deal damage to the target and nearby enemies from the Titan. So I like having Miki in the very far corner, also having your elemental defensive down hero in the very far corner, because those are really, really important stacks that you're going to have, and you also want to protect them so they're the least vulnerable of your heroes. So the heroes that are in the middle, slot 2, 3, and 4, those have the highest potential to be getting hit by target and nearby enemies on Titans. So when we look at Miki, Miki is super, super, super mega important. He is the Titan killer. If you do have him, he's going in on pretty much every single Titan. Reason being is he's setting up for plus 130% normal attack. Only applies when the enemy has more health than the attacker, which obviously is all the time against Titans. And then it also stacks with similar effects. So this can stack with Kiril. It can stack with Jott, but it does max out at 170% on the normal attack. And not to mention it's for 5 turns, and then you're also silencing them for 4 turns so they can't use their hero special. I really love Miki. Miki's really awesome on the Titans. That's why he's going to obviously hit the #1 spot on the red Titan because he's blue. Next on this spot is going to be Tarlac. Tarlac was one of the heroes that was used quite a bit against Titans. He's going to give 100% normal attack, and then he's also setting up so he's regenerating health. He does max out at 160%, so definitely fits into that spot there. Next on this list is going to be Guardian Gazelle. Guardian Gazelle does work really, really well, fitting into that high attack increase because he's giving you 100% attack. He's also reducing the amount of damage received. Now, it's important if you are using Guardian Gazelle, you can't use any other heroes that give you buffs. You can only be using heroes that give negative side effects to the Titan because obviously when Guardian Gazelle goes off, it wipes that all out. And then next on the list is going to be Ranvir. Ranvir is super helpful, giving 195% attack, but also comes with a minus 35% accuracy decrease. So you want to be wary and cautious of that. And then obviously the favorite, which is Wukong, giving 185% attack, minus 32% accuracy for 5 turns. also applies to special skills missing. So it's extremely important that you use one of these 5 heroes going in on your Titans every single time. I know you may be saying, hey, I hate Wukong, I hate Ranvir, I hate that they miss. They're incredibly important for getting high Titan scores. If you don't do it, you're not gonna be able to reach that much. So if I was to build my best team, the best team that you could have for Red Titans, I would first pick King Arthur, I would pick Magni, I'd pick Jott, and then after that, there's definitely a bit of debate going in for high tile damage, spot, or also attack increase. I personally would probably use Magni. I know that I talked to Zero and he's saying Master Lepus instead for him. It's up to you. And then obviously I'm gonna finish it off with a Miki. So those are the best heroes to be using on Titans against Red Titans. So thanks so much for watching this content. Please make sure you subscribe, you turn those notifications on, and I'll see you on the next video.